Let us pray. Almighty God, the creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our actions so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria in general and Lagos State in particular. Amen. Good afternoon, distinguished colleagues. You are welcome to today's sitting. Let us go through the votes and proceedings of Thursday, June 6, 2021. Sorry, June 2021. Ojú ìwé kẹrìndínláàádọ́ta lé lọ́ọ̀ọ́dúnrún. Honorable Nayo.
Ẹ ṣeun olùdarí, mo rórúkọ mi nínú àwọn tí wọ́n wá. Ọjọ́ ẹ̀ ni èmi àti Honorable Ṣàngódára Àtẹ̀yìntà lọ pàdé ààrẹ orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà ní Police College sir.
Ọjọ́ àkàwé àgbà ìṣàtúnṣe. Honorable sir.
Olùdarí ẹ ṣé, èmi náà rí orúkọ mi nínú àwọn tí ó wà, mo gbàyè lọ́wọ́ yín sà láti má wà ní ọ̀yìn sà.
Ẹ ṣe àkàwé àgbà ìṣàtúnṣe. Honorable Mojí Macaulay.
Ẹ ṣé sà, èmi náà rí orúkọ mi sà, mo dẹ̀ rò pé mo tọrọ àyè lọ́wọ́ yín.
O rò ìwọ fúnra ẹ̀ tọrọ mọ̀ kúrò ìwọ fúnra ẹ̀.
Mo kọ̀wé sí yín ni sà, pé mo kọ̀wé sí yín láti tọrọ àyè ní pé mi nílé wá sí ibi iṣẹ́ nígbà.
Akọ̀wé bá a ṣe àtúnṣe. Ojú ìwé kẹtàdínláàádọ́ta lé lọ́ọ̀ọ́dúnrún. I have examined the votes and proceedings of Thursday, 10th June 2021, and approval is here granted. Any message from the governor?
The Right Honorable Speaker, sir. Distinguished honorable members, there is no message from the governor.
Any other announcements?
Yes, sir. We received a memo from the Chairman Committee on Establishments, Training, Pensions and Public Service, Honorable Ogundimu Oluyinka, inviting the honorable members of this House and staff to a public hearing on a bill for a law to amend the Lagos State Pension Reform Law, Cap L52, Laws of Lagos State 2015, and Cap C 136, Amendment of 2018, on Wednesday, 23rd June 2021, at the House of Assembly Pavilion, Assembly Complex, LSHA Ikeja, by 10 a.m., sir.
Sorry, when is the check-in for the Conrad annual program? Okay, tomorrow evening, okay. Petitions? Matter of urgent public importance, none. Personal explanations? None. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I have this issue to raise on matter of urgent public importance. It has to do with the Lagos State University, LSHA, which is the only university that Lagos State has as of today. Mr. Speaker, presently, the university is having acting vice chancellor. And this is as a result of some controversies that have been raised about the selection process for a new vice chancellor. Towards the end of the tenure of Professor Fagbon, the immediate past vice chancellor, a committee was raised to invite applications from qualified candidates to fill the vacant seat. 3 candidates were shortlisted, but it was found out that one of those shortlisted was not having a PhD, rather a fellowship certificate of a professional body. And LSHA, Academic Staff Union of LSHA, raised a petition to the governor regarding one of the shortlisted candidates. controversy generated, as a result of which that committee was dissolved and the process was stopped, cancelled. A new committee was set up and given 45 days to commence another process. But what became so worrisome is that in the first advertisement, only professor with PhD was advertised. But in the second one, the advertisement reads PhD or fellowship of a professional body. An agitator started again that why is it that we complained about somebody not having PhD but fellowship, whereas the first advertisement does not include fellowship. And in this second one, fellowship is included. And the argument is that Nigerian University Commission, UC, has said that PhD and fellowship is not an equivalent, cannot be a substitute for PhD. So that one also generated issue. 9 candidates were shortlisted for the second process. 7 of them were from within the university, while 2 were from outside. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, the second process has also been put to stop. So presently, Lagos State University does not have a vice chancellor. Lagos State University does not have a governing board because the governing board has also been dissolved. And it is sad to note that a while ago we celebrated LSHA in this annual chamber for being ranked as the second best in Nigeria, but presently it has dropped to 5th best in Nigeria. And this is as a result of some of the lapses and controversies surrounding the way things are done there. Mr. Speaker, I'm raising this because Lagos State government and Lagos State people have a lot of investment in LSHA. Investment in form of infrastructural development which has aided academic excellence in university, as a result of which it has won that rating which has dropped now. Unless something is done and done fast, the ASU is already coming up against itself and is always a factor that will bring down LSHA rating and LSHA academic activities. Mr. Speaker, my prayer, therefore, is that the House of Assembly activates the Committee on Education to commence a thorough investigation into the activities in LSHA by oversight and report back so that we can have a comprehensive full report of what the situation is with LSHA, while also praying that the governor, being the visitor to the university, should take all pragmatic steps to nip these brooding crises and controversies in the bud, because we deserve the best for LSHA, and LSHA is working towards best. We should not allow it to retrogress back to the old ages of controversy and crisis. These are the reasons why I have raised this motion. I raised this matter under a matter of urgent public importance, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Sonny.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and distinguished colleagues. This issue of LSHA is taking a worrisome trend. We pride ourselves as one of the best citadel of learning in Nigeria. Of course, LSHA has a slogan, which is, "We are LSHA, we are proud." We are proud because we are existing in the state of excellence, and everything that LSHA does resonates excellence. I said we are LSHA, we are proud because of that high feat that LSHA has attained in recent time. When LSHA, we are proud because of that down strides that we have recorded over time. Little wonder where the second best rated university in Nigeria and were 500 to 600 best rated university in the world. But with all of this imbroglio happening, we have dropped to the 5th position in Nigeria. And I want to say that there are 3 fundamental issues that is bedeviling LSHA, as it were. One is the clash of interest of stakeholders. The interest that I talk about is the indigenship interest. And 2, the intra-campus politics that is playing out. And for all of this, there must be moderation. If not, it will impact negatively on that LSHA that we are proud of. The other issue, because all of these interests, especially that of the intra-campus politics and the indigenship one, they all want to have a stronghold on the affairs and activities of the university. They want to know who becomes who becomes what in LSHA. And if you don't do it with moderation, it will cause a lot of problem. The other leg to it is the issue of professionalism. When we talk about professionalism, we are talking about those who are carrying PhD and those who are carrying fellowship certificates. In the advert made by the school, it is expressly stated that if you have fellowship or PhD, you are allowed to apply for VC. And in the law that established LSHA, it is clear that fellowship and PhD holders can be considered for VC position. And then we also know that there have been precedents. The very first Vice Chancellor of LSHA, Professor Olumide Folabi, carried fellowship certificates. Ditto to Professor Akesode, ditto to Professor Bafonwa. So I don't know why that should cause an issue now. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I want to avert that Mr. Governor should take the bold step frontally and take a decisive action in solving these festering issues. We must not be shy away. We must not shy away from our responsibility. We must not shy away from taking bold steps when needed. And that's the only thing that can resolve this problem of LSHA. Then, professionalism, competence, and meritocracy should be what we must be looking for as against all of those parochial interests. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we must do something from this LSHA chamber to ensure that we resolve in earnest the problem bedeviling LSHA. I thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, my right honorable speaker. Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Speaker, allow me align myself wholeheartedly with the position of the majority leader and, of course, Honorable Sonny. Mr. Speaker, over 50% of us here are alumni of this great school called the Lagos State University. I so proudly say in the 8th Assembly, I remember when we constituted and amended the laws that guided the principles and how LSHA should be and how LSHA should go. And to God be the glory, Mr. Speaker, LSHA grew in leaps and bounds. For once, it seemed that we had gotten it right. We're doing the right thing, and indeed, we had legislative backing, we had a governing council, we also had a VC, together with the state doing wonderfully well. And the accolades came rolling. Indeed, still as we have issues in this country, when something good seems to be happening, one evil from somewhere begins to crop in. Honorable Sonny has so elucidatedly explained 3 past VCs with such with such grades and such qualification. Why that is an issue today is beyond me. I want to ask, I want to pray the House that we become proactive again into making sure that we have a seamless transition, because that is where the problem is, having a seamless transition from one government to another, as LSHA is, and LSHA will take us up, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Honorable Shah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, honorable colleagues. My colleagues have already spoken extensively about LSHA, qualities of LSHA, the journey to this point. So let me not repeat those things. What I just want to add is that as a government, we cannot watch this lacuna happen again. This has created a lacuna, and something needs to be done. I recall, I think it was Professor Lee that was handing over to Professor Hussaini then. The next Vice Chancellor was determined 6, 7, 8 months before the end of the tenure of a sitting Vice Chancellor. Because I remember there was a period of understudying to hand over and so on and so forth. We need to look at LSHA law to ensure we, whether by regulation or by statute as they put it, to ensure that there would not be this kind of lacuna again. Also, sorry, just a second, Mr. Speaker. So this is just to ensure that there is no vacuum. We don't have this kind of vacuum anymore. That is what I would like to add to it. Thank you very much.
No, anything different?
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I think what we are discussing here today is not projecting the image of our higher institution in Lagos State. LSHA will be 38 years of establishment of that great institution, and annually subvention are given to this institution to ensure that quality and qualitative education is being passed to all the students across board. LSHA are performing so much well in different courses there, and each time there is transition of VC, the series of fracas comes up, and then this house have solved one by turning the era of using 2 terms by the VC to 1 term, and these are really save us from series of embarrassment. But for the good job that the last VC and the team has done, for now to be now reversing it back now, it's not good to us. It's not good to Lagosian. We should really work much more on that. And then when you make an advertisement, according to the Chairman Committee on Education, he has said it that fellowship and PhD, they are equivalent, according to the law that he quoted there. But education is a place that we need to give more pride to. Education sector, health sector, those 2 areas we must not joke with it, because that determines the future of the state. Thank you very much.
I think the substance of the issue has been highlighted. The process of handing over has become a very difficult task as it is today. If we all recall, a few months ago, we eulogized the school and the authorities concerning new form of the school, the recognition within our country and beyond. And slightly surprising that few days later, the issue of succession has become something that now draws the school back. Well, somebody mentioned about looking at the law. I don't think the law is the problem. I think it's all about the people in charge. instead of the law, we should look at the regulation. They have internal regulation that dictates how the officer should be selected. But from information within my reach, many people applied and took part in the or maybe test or examination that was set for them. And we have from 1 to 6. The person that came first, the second, third, and fourth. Now let us assume, and according to my own information, that the difference between the first person up to fifth is just about a point. Where the first person scored maybe 80, the next person 79 or 78, and the third person 75, 76, which to me does not make much difference. If we cannot select the first person, why not the second person? And if not the second person, why not the third person? Up to the fifth person. So I think it's beyond issue that we have raised here, that someone has a fellowship or PhD or all this. So I strongly believe there is more to it, and we must not allow that to happen, because by coming up with a new law in the last assembly, we thought we have found, lasting antidote to LSHA problem. But the same issue coming up now says that there are people within the school trying to undermine the good intention of this government. And even the FCC who has just left, and the, what is it called? Well, the prof that did the publication trying to exonerate himself over the observation of the ASU, official of LSHA. So I quite agree with Majority Leader, there's need for the committee of this House to investigate and identify the cause of this problem, so that we can look for permanent solution and bury what the problem is, so that such will not happen again. Succession should be seamless. It should be something to be done easily when we comply and conform ourselves with both the laws and the regulations of the school. So I agree with Majority Leader that we should allow the Committee of the House on Education to quickly, within 1 week, to look at this issue and get back to us so we can take our. But I think, because if set of people participated in screening, and at the end of the day you dump all of them all together, and you now brought new set of people, those ones you left out haven't complied with the guidelines, will continue to generate issue within the school. So beyond those, the first set and the second set, I think we should look into this matter and see what the problem is actually. If we are not choosing number one, then number two should be competent enough to be selected. If not number two, the third person should be considered, and if we don't want to consider, we have the fourth and fifth. So why do you want to sweep all of them away and start the selection process again? If the body has favored the person that came up first, are we going to claim that he's trying to favor the second person and the third person and the fourth person? So this is a question begging for an answer, and I think we should just act on it quickly. So on these notes, we direct the House Committee on Education, particularly the chairman, tertiaries, to carry out investigation on this matter and report back in a week. Yeah, Majority Leader, what is next? Yeah, go on. Okay, personal explanations, none. Reports, none. business of the day.
Mr. Speaker, first item for business of today is a motion which prime mover is Honorable Engineer David S.S. from Badagry. Mr. Speaker, the motion is in respect of Nigeria 22 years of unbroken democracy and call for true federalism. The motion is supported by myself, Honorable Adams, Honorable Merenda, Honorable Mrs. Merenda, Honorable Mrs. Shagodara, Honorable Oluwari, Honorable Engineer Yishao, Honorable Togo, Honorable Gundimu, Honorable Yusuf, Honorable Jimo O.W., Honorable Abiru R.L., Honorable Shola Jasaka, Honorable Kasumu A.R., Honorable Lawale O.S., Honorable Elliot D.O., Honorable Saeed W.O., Honorable Lumo S.L., Honorable Rauf O.L. With your kind permission, Mr. Speaker, please allow me to invite Honorable David Setoji to move his motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Right Honorable Speaker and my colleagues, good afternoon. Nigeria has 22 years of unbroken democracy and call for true federalism. This House notes the celebration of Democracy Day in Nigeria on the 12th June 2021, and the celebration being the 22nd since Nigeria returned from military rule, recognizes that our return to democracy and sustainability of civil rule in the last 22 years is a product of conscientious struggle of our fallen and living heroes and heroines, some celebrated and a lot unsung. Further recognizes that June 12th will remain relevant and important in Nigeria, being the date for the freest and fairest election in which Nigerians voted without religious, ethnic, or cultural bias to elect Chief Moshood Kashimawo Olawale MK Abiola, whose mandate was annulled by the Babangida-led military junta. Further notes that democracy in Nigeria has conferred on the country infrastructural development, encourages fundamental human rights and development of legislative values, among so many others. However, regrets that despite the enthronement of democracy and its benefits, Nigeria is still bedeviled with a lot of challenges, which includes majorly insecurity that comes in the form of kidnapping, banditry, harassment attacks, and insurgency, leading to deaths of scores and rendering many innocent people homeless. Is aware that these challenges are fallout of Nigeria not practicing true federalism and imbalance in power sharing. Hence, the need to restructure this country by producing a people's constitution, because the 1999 constitution, as amended, is full of lopsided provisions and pro-unitary system, thereby constituting a major hindrance to the progress of our country. Is convinced that should the enormous powers entrusted on the federal government in the exclusive list of the Constitution of Nigeria be unbundled and devolved to the federating states, thereby allowing the states to control and benefit from resources within the state, as well as encouraging state police, most of these challenges will be properly and effectively reversed, and is further convinced that true federalism and fiscal federalism will reposition the country and take it to greater heights. The House resolves to 1. Call on the National Assembly to ensure true federalism, restructuring and devolution of powers to federating states, as well as establishment of state police through the ongoing constitutional amendments. And 2. Call on Mr. Gide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, Governor of Lagos State, to direct the Commissioner of Information and Strategy to, as a matter of urgency, embark on aggressive public enlightenment on the need to be security conscious as it relates to kidnapping, armed robbery, and other crimes-related activities. I so move.
Mr. Yusuf.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, the Great House. Mr. Speaker, this is an important...
There is a motion of Randall.
I rise up to second the motion.
All in favor, say aye. Those against, no. The ayes have it. I can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a very great motion that I wholeheartedly support. Mr. Speaker, yes, 22 unbroken democracy in Nigeria on the paper. 22 years of people voting, people adding their forces to how they are governed. But can we truly say that we are practicing democracy in Nigeria? Mr. Speaker, the question is, the fundamental issue that aids a true democracy is the constitution that guides the country. The prime mover has said it, that the constitution was fashioned by a body who is undemocratic nature. That's military juntas. Those who do not know the language of democracy could not give us a perfect constitution. The decree, and the decree is what they passed to us as Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you that military is known for the unitary kind of government, and that is exactly what they are using today. That is what we are still practicing today. Unless the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria has handed over to us, seriously amended to reflect the yearning and aspiration of the people of this great country. Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you, the fiscal federalism to allow each federating unit to develop according to their own economic ability. That is, they should try as much as possible to make the center very unattractive. It's because the country is practicing unilateral kind of a government. That is why there is an investment, criminality, and the federating unit are not developing. They use their hand to beg the federal government for the commonwealth of everybody in Nigeria. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm saying it. We have been for this Lagos State House of Assembly is on forefront, speaking, saying it loud about state policing. Up till now, federal government has not yielded to this because of the kind of constitution we are practicing. So, and that is what generated this insecurity in every federating unit in Nigeria. So, Mr. Speaker, I would really call that the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria should be amended, and there should not be any delay in doing this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Desmond.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Allow me commend and congratulate Nigeria for having 22 years of uninterrupted transition in our democratic circle. I also want to commend the prime mover of this motion, Honorable David Setonji, for indeed a very germane and apt motion on the way forward and the need for true democracy. Honorable Bisi Yusuf has rightly said that the Constitution, that document that describes how we should coexist and what goes to whom, indeed is altered, indeed is faulty, and indeed very erroneous. If we continue another 20 years with this kind of constitution, Mr. Speaker, this country cannot go any further than it is today. We've called, and I want to also commend the members of this house, we've spoken so much about restructuring of this great nation. Firstly, our constitution must be one that is contributed by everyone concerning how we should coexist in this country. Democracy is for the people, with the people, and everything concerning the people. If it is one-sided, if it's lopsided, then it is not democracy. So, Mr. Speaker, while commending Nigeria for having this peaceful transition, for true democratic principles to be practiced as far as Nigeria is concerned, for the kind of developmental things, we need to devolve the power from the center. Decentralization of the center is what will lead to the growth. Every state, every region, grow according to its resources. That is what democracy is about. Thank you.
Honorable Saad.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me also join my colleagues in congratulating Nigeria for 22 years of unbroken democratic practice in Nigeria. And I also want to salute Honorable Sotonji for bringing this motion to the floor of the House. However, sir, there is a substructure on which unitary government is built. And we have to look at the historical perspective. Where did we start and where did we get it wrong? I think this can be easily traced to the Aguiyi-Ironsi government of 1966. They brought this to bear on Nigeria. How far have we gone since then? Well, the answer we all know. Because if we have done it well, we will not have all these problems that is bedeviling Nigeria today. Of special importance to me is what is going on around now. The National Assembly is trying to amend the Constitution again in our usual practice. But I want to say Lagos is special to us all. And the special task that we've been craving for Lagos must be well considered in whatever Constitution amendment we are talking about. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank Honorable Sojoji for bringing this up, and I wish and pray that resource control will be looked critically in whatever devolution in terms of Constitution that we're going to look at in the future. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. I also want to join my colleagues in congratulating the Nigerians for the 22 years of unbroken democracy. Likewise, I want to commend Honorable Setoji for this motion. And also, I want to commend the Right Honorable Speaker for your resilience in respect of all this type of issues. We have said it several times at this chamber in respect of what is going on in this country, and that even has to do with true federalism and physical federalism and devolution of power. We have said it time without number. The last time Mr. President was in Lagos, probably the two of the Southwest state governors confided in him in respect of the challenges they are facing, now saying that they should go, what of the traditional leaders, the neighborhood, all those people? Are they going to fight those herdsmen with them guns? We are talking about the devolution of powers, talking about exclusive list, concurrent list, residual list. The only thing all the commoners in Nigeria continue to say is that those exclusive lists must be amended. Allow us to have our own state police. When you are telling them that you should go and fight, you should go and do the needful respect of the security, you want them to go with the cutlasses and they got to be fighting these people. And there was a video that was being circulated that I saw today where Nigerian army are escorting cattle in Ishure in Ijebu, Ogun State over there. We saw one video of what happened at Ekpe recently now. They are killing our people. This is the time. We can't continue like this. What Professor Wale Soyinka said yesterday, that by next year, if you're not careful, there is no certainty we're still going to have this country again. This is the time. All those amendments being done at the National Assembly, we said it the other time, whatever they need to do, they must do it, and it must be now. It must not pass this year, it must not pass this month. Whatever needs to be done, we have nowhere to go. There's nowhere we can run to. How many of us will be going with, even the security men, they are running for their dear lives. Do you know the numbers of soldiers and the armies that have been killed? We are being told that over 7,000 army were in the hospitals now being treated by these so-called less men. So thank you, Mr. Speaker. I salute your resilience because you continue to allow us to speak in respect of this issue. And we continue to say it, either they like it or not. We have nowhere to go. This is our country. And they must not push our youth again, not only the youth, even the adults, to understand that we start fighting ourselves. So enough is enough. The amendment must be now. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Tobo.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to join my colleague in congratulating Nigeria in 2022 on the director of democracy, and to appreciate Honorable Setonji, and most especially your humble self, for making us proud all the time. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, my mind blinks. And the question is just very simple. Our Constitution, the 1999 Constitution, has amended. In the preamble, it says, we, the people of Nigeria, make this Constitution for peaceful coexistence, harmony, good governance, this, and all also. But the question is, are we the one that put that Constitution in place? No. It's military. And over-concentration of power at the central is because military hegemony, they want to remain relevant and they want to continue to control the resources of this country. And that is why they put up that Constitution. It's high time we practice true federalism. That is what's done in advanced country. If you know the United States of America, they have 50 states. They allow each state to have their law. They allow each state to have their police. They allow each state to design how revenue are generated. They only contribute to the central. That makes the central not to be too attractive. But in Nigeria, the reverse is the case. So what we are experiencing is over-concentration of power. When you generate money in Lagos State, you send it to Abuja. They will now send it back to us. Anywhere in the country, when you generate money, they are the one to control our resources. This is becoming an unbecoming, and that is why they are the one controlling the military. They are the one controlling the police. They are the one controlling everything, and they did not have the human capital resources to do it. And if you look at what we're facing in Lagos State, Lagos is thriving, and that is why we provide vehicles for the police, provide this, provide that. Why can't they allow us to have our police that will protect us? Why can't they allow us to employ those who know the terrain? But because they are being structured, it's a structured arrangement. So it's high time. We know what is going on now. Every human being, every living in Nigeria, we are in fear because we don't know what will happen. When they post the police to you, you cannot converse with that person in Yoruba. So if you can't speak in English, you are gone for it. So it's high time that the National Assembly, especially postulated by Honorable Setonji, should rise up from their slumber. I'm sorry if you are using a harsh word. Should rise up. Look at this Constitution. Who are the result of the confab? We are the result of the national conference. They've called for so many conferences. Nothing happened with it. They keep it by the under the table. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of who? I'm afraid of so many things that can happen in this country. So the National Assembly should live up to the bidding and ensure that they do what is expected of them at this particular time. We have cried enough, and enough is enough. Nigeria cannot continue to go like this. We must practice true federalism, where each state control its resources, where each state control its security, where each state guide the way the government will rule. Even civil service, let each state negotiate. Let each state decide what they can do. Not the federal government dictating for us. Nigeria is a big country. God bless this country. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Jude.
Good afternoon, the right Honorable Speaker and my colleagues too. Well, this is a very bad time for the nation, but all the same, I think we should look at the positive. And what are the positive for me? In 22 years, non-broken of democracy as a stretch, I think it's a good one that have also helped yourself and myself to be in where we are today, even to speak for this nation. this country belongs to all of us. Yes, the Constitution, for me, I always say the Constitution was made for man, and not man for the Constitution. It's an instrument made by people. And there are opportunities right now that the National Assembly are trying to amend the Constitution. And I know we cannot get it right one day. But I believe that if all of us can put our hands and our mind on it to ensure that this country be one, where we can have no tribalism, no discrimination among all of us, irrespective of the tribe where we are coming from, I think it will be a better place for all of us, because we have no other place to go than this country, Nigeria. God bless the country, Nigeria. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Manji Fatai.
Good afternoon, Right Honorable Speaker and my fellow colleagues. On Saturday, 12th of June, we celebrated 22 years uninterrupted democracy in our dear nation. This is a great sign. We must wake up to recognize the fact that practicing true democracy, practicing true federalism is our only saving grace from anarchy. Right Honorable Speaker, you have done it before when you led the conference of the Speaker to LSHA Rock, demanding for self-accounting for the state legislators and judiciary. I sincerely believe you can also do the same thing since the National Assembly about to amend the Constitution. If you look at our Constitution today, this is nothing to write home about. In the Western world where true federalism has been practiced, they only recognize two tiers of the government, the state and the federal, where the state are allowed to generate their own revenue and determine and conduct the population census of that state. In year 2006, when the census was conducted, the Lagos state came up with a figure and the federal government with another figure. Up till now, we don't have a realistic database in our dear state, in our dear country. But where true federalism has been practiced, states are allowed to conduct their census and use it for planning. Also, in the Western world where true federalism has been practiced, the federal government, the center have only two functions to perform. First is the army forces and to control the economy. But here in Nigeria, opposite is the case. The federal government control everything. You have minister for this, minister for that. And which one is left for the state? Imagine in some areas where they have issues of the land disputes, the next thing we see that they move our people to Abuja for interrogation. And they have control over the land when the Constitution already stated that the land belongs to the state government. You have a case in the state when the federal government sued the Lagos state over the issues of the marine issues, setbacks on our waterfront. Mr. Speaker, in all, we need to call on the National Assembly. You need to lead the conference of the Speaker once again to Abuja, asking for the amendment to the Constitution. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Sholaje.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker and my colleagues. Well, let me be sincere with you. I'm not happy with what is going on in Nigeria. And first of all, let me appreciate Honorable Setonji for coming up with this motion. And to start with, if you look at what is happening in Lagos, Lagos is doing a fantastic job by repealing and it adds all the bills and constitution, the law that we made in Lagos State. We elect House of Senate and House of Reps to represent Lagos, to represent Nigerians, and I see no reason why we should have another set of people to review the Constitution. What are they doing there? Today in Lagos State, every day, day in, day out, we repeal and act the law in Lagos State, and that is why you see the Lagos State is moving. Democracy is the government of the people by the people, and that is why since the governors emeritus in Lagos State, you can see a lot of development in Lagos with all what they have done, local government and other things like that. Probably you can see that about 64 people, 240 people are working as a key officers in the local government. Today there are about 684 people. And what are they doing? They are making Lagos great. What in the state, in the mainstream too, you can see that we have a lot of things that are working. consider what we have generated in terms of revenue is because we repeal and react our law. That is what that's what the senators and reps need to do. We don't need to constitute another set of people to do what? Mr. Speaker, believe me honestly, the Nigerians, nobody will come and settle Nigeria for us. It is we in Nigeria. Ghana is there, South Africa is there. I think in 1982, 80, the Ghana came to Nigeria when they had problem. If Nigeria have problem today, where are we going to? And don't forget that Nigeria is too large, it's too big. Now, if anything happens, nobody, no state, no country that will entertain us. And that is why we need to resolve our problem internally. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my colleague, good afternoon. Mr. Speaker, when you start with this constitution, with your permission, we, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who are the people that signed this constitution, who were part of it, and before chapter 1, do hereby make and give to ourselves the following constitution. Mr. Speaker, this 1990 constitution, as amended, it has been amended severally. It's a book that you can no longer embellish. It's a fraud. If you want to live as a people, if you want justice to pervade this country, if you want equality, if you want access to greatness in this country, we must do away with this constitution and get a new constitution that will determine our relationship. Mr. Speaker, something close to the best constitution we ever had in Nigeria is the 1963 constitution. We can fashion this nation going by that regionalism, where even the minority will be taken care of. But if you rely on this, we are just deceiving ourselves. Yes, we have suffered as a state. Many states too have suffered. We have minorities that if you are born into a particular section of this country, you can never become president if you have this constitution. So, Mr. Speaker, my colleague, let us forget about amendment. All we need is to produce a constitution that determines our relationship, that talk whether we are to be one or we are to secede and go our ways. If we don't have all this, will be another effort in futility. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker and my colleagues. I will congratulate Nigeria for witnessing the celebration of June 12th, and I need to let us know that Nigerian 22 years of unbroken and uninterrupted democratic rule is a journey of many vicissitudes, a journey of many ups and downs, and we can say that the journey is dotted with gains and losses. There's no gainsaying the fact that we had a good infrastructural development. We can talk of human rights that is given to our people as well as other things. But, and we can always say that there is uninterrupted and unbroken democratic system that has been in place without any problem. But nonetheless, I will call our attention to the issue of these security challenges that we have in the nation. Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, it's a common thing that we are bedeviled with Boko Haram insurgency. We can say that we have banditry here and there. We have kidnapping for ransom. We can equally say that we have cattle rustling, herders and farmers clashes as we witnessed at Igono in Oyo State. We can talk about unknown gunmen, and we can talk about banditry. We can talk about separatist agitation that we are witnessing in the nation. We can equally talk about unemployment of our youth. Mr. Speaker, sir, we can talk about economic recession that we witnessed during these 22 years of our polity. But when we talk of true federalism devolves the issue of exclusive and non-exclusive lists that we have. where we got our constitution, do we have this non-exclusive do we have it there? But because of untruthfulness of our leaders, that's why they have put that one there. Mr. Speaker, sir, I need to let us know that there should be a better security arrangement if you have true federalism. The issue of state police is a thing that we will all enjoy. And if we are truly practicing true federalism, we will talk about our resources that we have. Resource control must be involved too. And lastly, sir, there should be better representation. A nation, our country, should be a country that will be developed irrespective of religious leaning, your ethnicity background, as well as the political lineage that you come from. We should enjoy as a nation. We should be proud of Nigeria. And I can assure you that, inshallah, Nigeria will be great. I don't subscribe to the idea of separatists. And by the grace of God, I know with the what we are practicing now, by the grace of God, we just need to fine-tune it and everything will be in order. Thanks so much, sir.
Honorable Sir Aid.
Years of working memories, different school recipes. It is just like giving a dog to run a horse race. Why? If truly democracy is unbroken for 22 years in this country, it shows that a girl or a boy or a man of 22 years of age should know his right from his left. Why are we having political economic stagnation? Why are we having industrial retrogression? Why are majority of our energetic youth roaming the street without jobs, without income that will sustain them? We are the representative of the true people of Nigeria. The way the people of Lagos State has represented the 40 members in these allo chambers to represent them is the same way they've voted for the House of Representatives and the senators in Nigeria. What is in the 1999 Constitution that we want to amend? We've been amending. And a journey that you've taken for 22 years unbroken, and you are not getting a desired result. I think it's enough time to tell ourselves the honest truth that this 1999 Constitution is dysfunctional. It cannot take us to the next level. Let's take our journey back to where we inherited this democracy from, in America. They have what is called devolution of powers. They have separation of powers. New York is different from New Jersey. New Jersey is different from California. Why is it very difficult for our senator to rise up, the House of Rep to rise up and do the same? Maybe, Mr. Speaker, sir, you are the chairman of a conference of Southern. You can use your influence to gather your colleagues together. This is the voice of the people. The people that that we are representing us are saying the 1999 Constitution is not going to take us to anywhere. Whether amended or not amended, it will still be the same also. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Jim.
Honorable Speaker, good afternoon, colleagues. If I have my way, I will just suggest that the opinions of our colleagues should be forwarded to the appropriate quarters for implementation. But however that deserve may be, Mr. Speaker, there is nowhere in the world that we have the same set of federalism everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world, there will always be one form of federalism or the other. If we assume we have physical federalism, it could be debated and embraced. If it is true federalism, it is quasi-federalism, and if it is genuine federalism, this are subjected to debate. There is no any component country in the world that has the same character that Nigeria has. How can we have a nation or a federation state that the component units has not been identified? Before the United Nations census on us about our ethnic and tribal groups, they recorded 2252, if I'm correct. Later, there are other accounts of 300. As of present, it is over 700. As of now, we don't even know the number of component units that form Nigeria. So how can we be discussing the issue of Nigeria without putting all these factors into consideration? I don't see the Constitution as a problem. As Lord Denny will say, that the problem is not about bad law or Constitution, it's about the people. It is the people that will determine. If we have good people in government, good people in authority, we can easily make things done the way we want it to be done. However, Mr. Speaker, I have a thesis. This theory says when we have a peculiar situation that is adherent to us, we must begin to look at things that we have overlooked, such that we look at how we can address our problem without looking at the federalism that is being practiced elsewhere. Otherwise, we'll be making the same mistake the way we are complaining of the amendment of the Constitution the way it is now. So, if we have our way, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't cost the country or the state any. We can have a brief version of Nigerian Constitution in the state and push it to the federal government that this is the brief version of the Constitution, how we think Nigeria could be governed in the state, and send it to the National Assembly either through the governor or directly to the president, and it will be determined and it is going to define how we perceive how Nigeria can coexist without rancor. Otherwise, we continue talking about this insecurity, we continue talking about health, we continue talking about education, we still come back to see that the fundamental issue that we felt that it should be addressed are not be fully addressed. This is how I see the issue of federalism, how we are addressing the federalism. There is no component unit in the world that runs the same kind of federalism in the world.
Honorable Tijani. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Good afternoon, colleagues. I think democracy should be a freedom. I would really enjoy the freedom of democracy today. Today we are celebrating 22 years of unbroken democracy, of which we still remain and we are crumbled on the same place. Mr. Speaker, I think I want to join our colleagues to call for true federalism, in the sense that there is no how somebody could be living at Abuja and determine the state of security of Lagos State. And also somebody cannot be living in Katsina and determine the economy of Lagos State. I think through federalism, each state could be able to control our resources and provide for our citizens. I also join others colleagues that federal government of Nigeria should practice true federalism so that each state will control our resources.
Honorable LSHA.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Permit me to quickly appreciate Honorable Setonji for this motion, and also congratulate all legislators within the Nigerian space, because 22 years of democracy is all about the parliament. The executive has existed, albeit from 1960 as the case may be. So we are the ones that are really rejoicing for these 22 years of unbroken parliamentary federalism that we have in Nigeria. I want to agree with my colleagues that the Constitution as it is needs to be overhauled. But while we are doing that, there are some low-hanging fruits that we can also take advantage of, which is this amendment that we have all been calling for. Federalism is the best form of government you can run. It is the one that recognizes our diversity. Everybody knows that. But the key thing is, in a true federalism, like Honorable Jimo said, well, no federalism is the same, but true federalism is what we still call it. The federal has to take his eyes off the state, and the state will take his eyes off the federal. Face your own matter. That is what is on ground. And for me, I like what my colleagues have also said. Mr. Speaker, we are going to charge you with this. You are the one that will lead this ship as you've always been leading it. are some items that I believe that are in the exclusive legislative list. If it is devolved, we would have moved one step forward. Fingerprint and criminal code. What are we doing with fingerprint? Is technology now. It's as simple as everything. Why should it be the federal government that will be in charge of fingerprint? Criminal records. Lagos State has a criminal law. We have courts. Why should it be the federal government that will keep all this thing? Mines and minerals. In this present age and time, states should be able to take care of these issues. Pensions, policing, prisons. We have courts. We should have our own prisons. Then public holidays, for crying out loud. Even states do give public holidays these days. Finally, look at railway. Railway. How can it be the federal government that will have the entire right of way within the country? Mr. Speaker, with your leadership, as my colleagues have expressed, and I also believe in, this issue should be placed before the National Assembly so that they will be devolved to state. That be the position of our own parliament. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria. God bless our democracy.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I want to join my colleagues in commending Honorable Setoji for this brilliant motion and calling our attention to some very important points. Mr. Speaker, no doubt we are practicing democracy in Nigeria, because democracy is representative government, which signpost is the legislature. So that we are here is a symbol that we are practicing democracy. However, we will not get it right because governance and constitutionalism are related. There cannot be a government without a constitution regulating it. We know where we are coming from. We know the amalgamation of Nigeria. We know the various constitutional development that has given rise to the one we are questioning today as the Constitution. Whether the Constitution is right or not, no country can exist without a Constitution. Until we have another one, we will continue to operate and manage the one we have, because the government, no government can continue without Constitution. It will become anarchy. Mr. Speaker, the problem we have in Nigeria today, I can classify it into two. First is the problem of marginalization. There is this tension in the country, people asking for self-determinism because they feel they have not been properly and justly treated under the present system. There are things they find so questionable. And Honorable Isha has pointed out some of these things that are so ridiculously catalogued under the exclusive list. One will wonder what was going on in the minds of the people and what was their focus, to have put those items under exclusive list. Mr. Speaker, all we need to do is to tinker with this Constitution, which the National Assembly is doing presently, a review of the Constitution. And to the extent that we believe in the capability and the intelligence of those that are in the National Assembly, we should continue to encourage them to seize this opportunity as canvassed by Honorable Setoji in his motion, to seize the opportunity to right the wrongs and to attend to the areas that we feel are too cumbersome. Mr. Speaker, the Constitution is not the main problem we have, but largely the Constitution. If we talk about marginalization, the improper control of resource, from each state and the rest of it, people don't feel secure under this Constitution because they feel their rights and yearnings are not properly protected. Let us reverse that and see if the issue of marginalization will not be addressed. Some people are canvassing for regionalism and going back to the Constitution that allows regionalism. If we feel it's regionalism, let's go back to regionalism instead of federalism. And if it's federalism, we must do it the way federalism is practiced, though no two federalism is peculiar to the country practicing it. But at least we must do it in recognition of our differences. Though tribe and tongue may differ, but we must be able to do justice under the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, the second issue is the issue of insecurity. The Constitution is so lopsided that issue of security become so lopsided, and the federal government thinking it deluded that it could take care of the security of every state is not. Mr. Speaker, state police will solve that. And of course, when we talk about insecurity, what mechanism do we have to apprehend, prosecute effectively criminals? When criminals are not properly prosecuted, of course, impunity will develop. And when impunity develops, of course, the problem is that you have higher rates of criminals. Because those who venture into criminal activities, if they are not properly sanctioned, of course they will go. Our prisons are full of awaiting trials. People are there for years. These are also things that relate to it, and people are not getting proper sanction, so they could say, okay, this person has committed this crime. What was done to him? Nothing. I can go. Some people will even be proud to even commit crime and get sanctioned because they know the sanction is not deterrent enough. So, Mr. Speaker, these are the issues that are bedeviling us. The Constitution, as bad as it is this the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? What we need to do is to tinker with it, and National Assembly doing it. I don't see anything wrong in us as a House of Assembly. The way Honorable Isha has rolled out this thing, devolution of powers. Some of the power we feel should devolve to the state. We have done this several times, and it's not even too much when you are saying something and people are not attending to it. You keep saying it until they listen to you. We can, as a house, also make a comprehensive position, or the one we have done before, we can revisit it and send it to the National Assembly. Devolution of powers under the exclusive list is too enormous, whereas powers should go to the state. If these are some of our contributions, individuals can also do it. We should just pray and hope for a better Nigeria, but our constitution can be rectified to do it. And when it's rectified, I'm sure some of this problem will just fizzle out, and we have a good Nigeria of our dream, of our desire. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, thank you all. I commend you all for your contributions and your view on the situation of our country as it is today. And 22 years of unbroken democracy, well, is worthy of celebration when we look back to where we're coming from. And having democracy for 22 years, which gives our people, Nigerians, opportunity to select their leaders and representatives, I think it's a commendable one. And we thank all those who have contributed in no small measure to the existence and sustenance of democracy in our country, and those who died in the struggle to attain democracy in our country, and those who are still living. We commend our president as well, President Muhammad Buhari, for efforts he has made so far in sustaining democracy. When we talk about the Executive Order 10 that empowers the judiciary and legislature to become independent of the executive at the state level, which to me means a lot. Also, the choosing of June 12 as Democracy Day, which also I believe is in support of the agitation of Nigerians over what happened during June 12 saga, is also commendable, because before him we've had other presidents who refused to honor those who lost their life. I think it was a way to honor Nigerians. In the same manner, we commend National Assembly, at least representing Nigerians, doing all they could. You know, most times when it comes to national issue, which they have deliberated and debated upon, we saw some of them weeping on the floor of the House, some of them very agitated. We commend them so far. But beyond this, we have spoken, at least from what comments from each one of us this afternoon, that we still have a lot to do. We have so many things left undone that we cannot claim that all is well after 22 years. And I think National Assembly, starting with the National Assembly, or rather Mr. President, there's need for us to put it clearly that democracy is a wholesale package. A wholesale package, you know, where you trade in wholesale, you don't pick a unit and dump the rest. You pay for all and you get all. It's not by electing our leaders alone. There are other things that follow. Those that elected us also have freedom to register their reservations about the people they have elected, which simply means that people have rights to protest. By so doing, to identify and signify their pains and what they have observed to be injustice and others. So the last June 12, where people were not allowed to, you know, exercise their freedom, I think that is not democracy. And we thank God our president also led protests on the streets. So these rights must not be taken away from our people. And I think it is important to allow our people to display and exercise their right, as long that it's not going to be taken for granted. Having said that, people, my colleagues have spoken about security all over, and we have emphasized this severally. You know, issue of state police. And I strongly believe if this has been adhered to, the insecurity facing the whole nation today probably will not be there, because we'll have had, you know, the structure in place to contain either the herdsmen, the roster, kidnappers, armed robbers, ritualists, and others. But unfortunately, when the center refused to listen to the cry of the component units of the state, and that is why we are facing this challenge, and we will continue to cry that there is need for us to have state police. And we must also say this clearly, that the community policing is quite different from what we are talking about. The community policing should be idea of the local governments, where we have true federalism. It should be left to the local government to come up with the community police. So that is quite different from the request that there should be state police, and we still say that the state police, devolution of powers, that has been said and has been mentioned repeatedly. Probably if we have that too, people agitating for disintegration of the nation, maybe there will have been no reason for them to call for that. And our economy is also something important to look at. By restructuring, some of us believe that with restructuring, the economy can be managed perfectly. And each state will have a lot to contribute to center to maintain our economy. As we speak, exchange rate is almost 1 to 500. I wonder how we intend to manage such economy. The unemployment rate continues to increase. Inflation from double digits, God forbid, I hope it will not get to triple digits. And all these are things that we need to address. Poverty level. So I think we just have to address these, and these are instruments for insecurity. When there is no employment, when poverty continues to increase, when the economy is in bad shape and there is no hope, there is no solution. So restructuring is not going to add to the problem of the country, but to resolve most of the challenges we are facing as a nation. And Lagos has never been a dictator. Lagos has always been a bastion of democracy, a fertile land for germination of democracy. Even independence, it all started in Lagos. It all has participatory democracy, it all started in Lagos. everything about democracy all started in Lagos. So as it is, Lagos is democracy, democracy is Lagos. Even the current administration in this country, it all started from Lagos. And Lagos will continue to play that democratic role to ensure we have a nation and a state that we all dream about. Now, the other thing is about those who are agitating for disintegration. I mean, the IPOB, the Ududua, and also, well, military is not going to be solution. Deploying military is not going to resolve. I think there should be kind of engagement, as we have witnessed in the past during President Yaradua and during Jonathan period. I think that should be the sensible thing for us to do. There is no crime in seeking for separate nation within an existing nation. As we have witnessed in many parts of the world, we still have issues in Spain and Barcelona. We have Scotland and England. We know about Ireland and England, United Kingdom. We have Russia, Ethiopia and Eritrea, India and Pakistan, so many of them. So that should not be seen as a crime that leads to introduction of military and the use of force by the center. So I think there should be proper engagement. And if where we have engagements, a thorough discussion, I'm very sure that we will get over it. And listening to the people is very important. As we have all said, democracy is all about people. It's all about people. And if it is all about people, then those representing the people through ideology of social contract should learn to listen to the people. If we listen to the people, I'm sure we will not be having problems of this nation. I pray, as someone also observed, that God will. It has always been our last resort. It's all about God. It's all about Allah. It's all about. But we also need to do something. We pray that it will not get to stage of disintegration by force. But we all, the people at the center, we do what is right. So my own take on all this is that we should continue to call on Mr. President and the need, to engage the Odua Grove and the IPO, all of them, and the rest of them. The federal government should engage them, and also the state police issue should be addressed, and the restructuring, devolution of power is also very important. And the National Assembly should go a step further. It is not about weeping on the floor of the House. It's not about being agitated. There should be more to it. You are representing people, and they are hope of the people. So there's need for them to do more. And the Southern governors, having stated their position, I think it's not yet time for them to go home and sleep. They should follow it up until most of what they asked for have been implemented. So I think these are things that I also have in support of our observation after 22 years of democracy in our country and in our states. Honorable Setonji, I don't know if you have atomized your prayers, but before that, I think it is important for us to rise and observe a minute silence in honor of Chief MKO Abiola and others who contributed and sacrificed for democracy in our country today. So you can take that time to atomize order. So, Mr. Clark, kindly. May their souls rest in perfect ease. Yeah. Honorable Setanji.
Thank you very much, the Right Honourable Speaker, my colleagues. The House resolves to call on the National Assembly to ensure true federalism, restructuring and devolution of powers of federating states, as well as establishment of state police through the ongoing constitutional amendments. To call on the federal government to engage Odua,
it's a practice,
the iPod and other areas, other agitators for separation in this country, that the federal government will engage them instead of using force. No, 3, call on Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, the governor of Lagos State, to direct the Commissioner of Information and Strategy to, as a matter of urgency, embark on aggressive public enlightenment on the need to be security conscious as it relates to kidnapping, armed robbery, and other crimes-related activities. I so move.
Now, before secondment, a letter to the Southern Governors Forum and also a letter to, okay, you said that to federal government. I think you've mentioned federal government, you've mentioned National Assembly. So, Southern Governors Forum, I think that is
As amended.
As amended, I so move.
Thank you. Honorable Macaulay.
I rise to second the motion as moved.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, kindly direct our resolve to appropriate quarters. The majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, from the area of motion, we move to the areas of third reading. We have 3 bills listed for third reading today, Mr. Speaker. First of the bill is House of Assembly Bill number 7, Animal Bill 2020, which third reading is supported by myself, Honorable Adams, Honorable Merenda, Honorable Shangodara, Honorable Joseph K., Honorable Mojid F.A., Honorable Kazim R.A., Honorable Akonde V.O., Honorable Makinde R.L., Honorable Adewale T.A., Honorable Afini O.S., Honorable Ajani S.O. Mr. Speaker, I move that this bill, Animal Bill 2020, be read for the 3rd time. I so move.
Honorable Desmond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion as moved.
I can't hear you.
I rise to second the motion as moved.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, the Right Honourable Speaker, sir. Distinguished honourable members, it is a great honour and privilege to read for the 3rd time a bill for a law to regulate the ownership, licensing, care, and sale of pets and prohibit or restrict persons from having custody of animals dangerous to the public and where permitted to license, control, and regulate the custody of such animals and for other connected purposes. Thank you very much, sirs.
a bill for a law to regulate the ownership, licensing, care, and sale of pets, and prohibits or restricts persons from having custody of animals dangerous to the public and where permitted to license, control, and regulate the custody of such animals and for other connected purposes. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Yeah, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On page 7, is 710. A duly authorized officer of the licensing authority may enter and inspect any premise. I think a comma should be there. Any premise, comma, animal shop or hostel. That's my observation, sir.
Thank you. Page 9.
Premise or premises?
Can you please put off your light, huh? Page 10, page 11, page 12, 13, 14, page 15, 16, 17, page 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, page 25, and page 26. That a bill for a law to regulate the ownership, licensing, care, and sale of pets and prohibit or restrict persons from having custody of animals dangerous to the public and where permitted to license, control, and regulate the custody of such animals for other connected purposes be passed into law. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, kindly pass the clean bill to Mr. Governor for his assent. Majority Leader.
Next on the roll, Mr. Speaker, is House of Assembly Bill number 17, Lagos State Domestic Sexual and Sexual Violence Agency Bill 2020, supported for the third reading by myself, Honorable Adams, Honorable Merenda, Honorable Shogodara MR, Honorable Mrs. Ali Macaulay KM, Honorable Oshun MO, Honorable Lua OF. Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill, Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency Bill 2020, be read for the third time. I so move.
Honorable Said.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I stand to second the motion as moved.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable members. It is a great honor and privilege to read for the third time a bill for a law to provide for the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, the establishment of the Sex Offenders Register, and for connected purposes. Thank you very much.
A bill for a law to provide for the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, the establishment of the Sex Offenders Register, and for connected purposes. Page 1. Page 2. You put on your lights, you wait till I recognize you. That is why you have the lights. Yes.
On page 1, sir, second to the last paragraph, where it was written sexual offender means any person who has been convicted by a court of competent jurisdiction for a sexual offenses. I think A should be removed, either for sexual offenses or for a sexual offense.
Mr. Clark, we do the needful as it is right. Page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11, page 12, page 13, page 14, page 15, page 16, page 17, 18, and 19. That a bill for a law to provide for the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, the establishment of the Sex Offenders Register, and for connected purposes be passed into law. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Mr. Clark, kindly pass the clean bill to Mr. Governor for his assent. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, next and final on the order paper for today is in respect of House of Assembly Bill number 21, Cooperative Societies Bill 2020, supported for third reading by myself, Honorable Miranda, Honorable Adams, Honorable Shogoda IMR, Honorable Sonny GBO, Honorable BC Yusuf, Honorable Idimogun JE, Honorable Makinde RL, Honorable Ogunkelu SO, Honorable Olabi LAO, Honorable Akisanya AN. Mr. Speaker, I move that Cooperative Society Bill 2020 be read for the third time. As we move.
Honorable Tobo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion as moved.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Distinguished honorable members, it is an honor to read for the third time a bill for a law to provide for the registration of cooperative societies in Lagos State and for connected purposes. Thank you.
A bill for a law to provide for the registration and regulation of cooperative societies in Lagos State and for connected purposes. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11, page 12, page 13, page 14, page 15, page 16, page 17, page 18, page 19, page 20, 21, 22, page 23, page 24, page 25, page 26, page 27, 28, page 29, page 30, 31, 32, page 33, 34, page 35, and page 36. That a bill for a law to provide for the registration and regulation of cooperative societies in Lagos State and for connected purposes be passed into law. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, kindly pass the clean copy to Mr. Governor for his assent. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, glad that we have come to the end of today's session. I have the approval of the Right Honorable Speaker to move that this House adjourns to Monday, 21st June at 12 noon. I so move.
I'm sure we all remember that program being organized by Conrad Adema. The check-in is tomorrow. If I'm right, tomorrow till Friday. So please be punctual and let us take part and contribute adequately as part of the event. Honorable Sholade.
I ask the second motion.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. This House stands adjourned till Monday, 24th June 2021 at 12 noon prompt. Arise.